Logical contradictions explained. Accept or reject them at your peril. Logic, the almighty power that dominates even gods. Today's topic is a philosophical one, and we're specifically focusing on an aspect of logic called the Law of Non Contradiction. This video is going to be a basic overview, a very basic overview. I've been studying logic and philosophy of objectivism for a couple of years now, and I still consider myself as a rank amateur. Compared to the average Joe who doesn't study philosophy at all, I would appear very, very advanced, but I still know there is so much more to go. So take this as an introduction to philosophy and logic. If you want more, then check the links in the description for other videos on logic. And I'll have more to come in the future. It's going to be a basic overview with plenty of examples of contradictions and how they cause damage in people's lives, whether it's to do with their health, their relationships, their money, or their unconscious and implicit philosophy, and how this affects so much of people's personal lives and the world at large. Most of the world's issues are caused by people accepting contradictions in their life, whether metaphysically, epistemologically, morally, politically, at all levels. The deeper, the lower that the acceptance of a contradiction is, the more it colors and taints the higher up decisions that people make in everyday life. So the more metaphysical and epistemological, meaning metaphysical view on what reality is, the deepest perspectives that people can have, whether right or wrong, and then epistemology, how we actually acquire knowledge, whether it's through a legitimate, valid method like reason, or if it's through flawed methods, bad reasoning, or if it's through a non-method like faith and feeling, and rationalism, subjectivism, mysticism, imagination, detachment in a void. And if you have contradictions at your metaphysical and epistemological level, and you don't even need to understand those concepts to determine if you have those contradictions. Most people, here I'll say it out front, have contradictions, massive contradictions at their root fundamental level of who they are. Your philosophy is before your psychology. Your psychology is built on your philosophy. It's so important to get this right, because otherwise you just end up hurting yourself and hurting others. You say, I don't know why. I can't fix this. Everything is determined. It's outside of my control. I've got no power to change things. I'm a hapless, gormless mule who is stuck in destiny and can't do anything. Non-contradiction is the most fundamental keystone of all conceptual knowledge. Without this understanding of the most root, core, deep law of reality, forget your hermetic principles. This is much deeper than that. All hermetic principles, all laws are formed upon this basis. Even the law of non-contradiction is essentially coming from the metaphysical axiom of the law of identity, but I won't be going specifically into that, even though this is just, it's a different rephrasing of the law of identity expressed in a different way, because things are what they are. A is not B. Things have a nature and an identity and act in accordance with their nature and cannot act in ways that they cannot. They are what they are not what they are not. That sounds so simple on the surface, but the more you learn this, the more years you go through life, you'll see how people do not understand this oh so simple. Well, actually, I won't even say simple. In a way it's simple, in a way it's really complex. But it's the Almighty, it is the real God. It subordinates even conceptual, fantastical, mythical, imaginary gods are still subordinate to the laws of logic. All of reality is built from the laws of logic. And the essential law of logic, which is just the law of identity. The law of identity, then, as a correlate, is the law of non-contradiction. Because everything has an identity, they can't contradict. Someone can't be 100% fully a man and also, at the same time, in the same respect, 100% fully a woman. Well, no, that's a contradiction. You can't have that. This can't be 100% a water bottle. This is a water bottle, and then it's also an elephant. In the same respect, at the same time, no. Everything has a nature and identity. They are what they are. It is what it is. And anytime you come across a contradiction, it shows you've either made an error, someone is mistaken, or they're lying to you. You've believed a lie. It's the best way to error check your beliefs, ideas, and knowledge is to look for the contradictions. If you find contradictions in what you believe is wrong. You've misunderstood something, you've misinterpreted something, you've been tricked, whether accidentally or deliberately. It's like when you see those magicians and they do all these fancy things to make it look like they're using Harry Potter magic, but they're not. It's just a perception deception. Whereas accepting contradictions is a conceptual deception, a trick of the mind. And I'll show you in many ways. And this is so important and so critical because the acceptance of contradictions is the literal path to chaos and madness. The acceptance of contradictions is the departure from reality into the realm of wild imagination. Rampant subjectivism and chaotic delusion. I'm not being hyperbolic here. This is not metaphorical. This is not an analogy. Accepting contradictions is the literal departure from reality. That's when you go into this non-space. It's not non-existence, because you could say, well, the opposite of existence is non-existence. In a way, that's true, but non-existence does not exist. It has no identity whatsoever. This is just, actually, it needs a new conceptual categorization. Fantasy, really, chaotic delusion. That's what it is when you accept contradictions, because you are departing from reality, because reality does not have contradictions. There are no contradictions in reality. Doesn't matter if it's a simulated world, a dream world, a DMT world, it does not matter. Changes nothing whatsoever at all. The laws of logic still apply. Whether you're in this world, the astral dimension, the void, computer game, doesn't change a thing. The laws of logic are still the laws of logic. They are inescapable. Physical laws and different laws here and there, the law of gravity or water or whatever, they can change, but not the laws of logic. Not the law of non-contradiction. Impossible. So that's why you know if you ever come across a contradiction in your thinking, you're wrong. Contradiction is the flag of error. Logic is the method of non-contradictory identification. It's to identify the facts of reality in the world, and to think objectively is to hold that reality exists independent of consciousness, to grasp its entities and their attributes, and to refuse to accept two mutually exclusive propositions about the same aspect of the same thing at the same time and in the same respect. That's probably confusing right now. With examples, it will become abundantly clear. Rejecting contradiction is not metaphysical hair-splitting. It is the indispensable condition of cognition, morality, law, and human survival. More than that, spiritual survival, spiritual existence, everything, happiness. It all depends upon your rejection of contradictions. If you find something you believe is paradoxical, which is a contradiction, it is simply a case of conceptual misunderstanding. That's what's happening here if you come across a paradox. For instance, this one fools a lot of people. This statement is false. So if that's true, well then the statement is not false. But the statement is saying it's false, but if it's true, it's true. So it's true and false at the same time. Oh my goodness, it's a paradox. It's a logical contradiction, right? So it's like, yeah, it's the dude who takes your watch off, or he jumps through a curtain and it looks like someone's body, or he's doing some kind of magic trick. Oh wow, he flipped the cards, he did this wacky thing. That can't be. How does that happen? That's crazy. He did magic. It's like with that statement. Oh, it's a paradox. Oh, it's a contradiction. Wow. Oh, okay. No, it's just a magic trick in your mind. It's just a conceptual misunderstanding. That's all that is. For the untrained mind, one accepts the contradiction, paradox, as if it's real. And if you accept it, you're accepting a contradiction, but a trained mind understands there are no contradictions. If you come across that, even if right now you don't know how to explain and argue that it's wrong, you still know, there's a contradiction. There's something wrong here. It can't be true that it's a paradox. If this statement is false, if it's true, it can't be true because it's true, then it's false. No, something's wrong. I just don't understand. I don't know the answer. I don't know how to explain the magic trick. The magician makes the card disappear. I don't know how he did it, but I know it's not magic. I know it's just a sleight of hand trick that can be explained. There is a method to the apparent madness, but it's not actual madness. So with this, it's very easy to debunk. This statement is false. What's the content of the statement? The statement isn't referring to any existence or instances, any reference in reality. It's just a bunch of words stuck together that have the apparent ostensive interpretation of meaning. But there's no meaning there. It's vacuous. It's empty. This statement is false. About what? It's not claiming anything as true or false, fact or fiction. It just says this statement is this statement. What's the statement about? So that's how you debunk that. It's not that it's false or it's true. It's arbitrary. It's like a cockatoo saying this statement is false. Well, the cockatoo is just saying words. Or if the cockatoo says fuck you, or 1 + 1 = 6, or 1 + 1 = 2, it doesn't matter. It's just making noises. Cockatoo doesn't understand what it's saying. This is similar. There is no content there. It is not a paradox. It was a conceptual misunderstanding where you thought it was true and false at the same time, but there is nothing there to be true or false of. It's not saying this is a water bottle. Well, is that true or false? It's vacuous. A few more examples to show you the law of non-contradiction in action. It's like saying a car is all red and all blue at the same time in the same respect. All of it, the whole car, not a car where you shift perspectives. Oh, now it's a different color. Oh, now it's changed colors. You get that special paint. No, I mean in the same respect, at the same time, the whole car, the paint on the outside is red and it's also blue. Well, no, contradiction, impossible. That can't happen. Even if you're God, you can't do that. Another one. It's raining right here, right now, and it's not. Well, no, it can't be raining exactly where you are in the same respect, water coming from the sky at the same time, and not be at the same time. Contradiction. That's not true. The circular square. You can't get a circular square because a square is a four-sided shape. A circle is a curved shape. They're different shapes. You can't get a circular square or a square circle. The two-sided triangle. Well, no, a triangle is three-sided. You can't have a two-sided triangle. No, that's impossible. This one's quite common. Can God, if there was a hypothetical God, create a rock so heavy he can't lift it? Meant to be the most powerful, strongest being in all of existence. If he can make the rock and he can't lift it, well, he's not omnipotent because he can't lift the rock. But if he can make a rock too heavy for him to lift, well, then he can't lift the rock. It's like, well, contradiction. Well, it's because that can't happen. Because it's not possible. It's a logical contradiction. So it shows you there is no such thing as pure omnipotence like some religious god. I mean, they're fun to make up sometimes and just have a play around with it. Can God or Yahweh, the demiurge, whoever, make a runner faster than him. Like, well, simultaneously be the fastest runner, but also create someone that's a faster runner than him. You know, you just have fun. It's fun doing that. And then you have quantum physics. I'm not going to go into the detail of why that's a psyop and it's a contradiction, but you start looking into all of that, it's just contradiction, 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 contradiction. The whole thing is just contradiction that they try to explain away. It's just total nonsense. A light wave is a particle and a wave at the same time. This is a bottle of water and a Teletubby at exactly the same time in the same respect. It's... Or you have Schrodinger's cat. The cat is alive and dead in the box at the same time. If you're not familiar with that, you can go and look it all up. It's just nonsense. It's all just guesswork and an agenda to attack people's epistemology, just in another different way. Philosophy's been doing that all throughout the ages. This is just a scientific philosophy that's attacking people's epistemology today. Epistemology being the study of how we know, how we acquire knowledge, how we discern fact from fiction, truth from falsehood. For example, I want to show you this demonstration where people think there may be opposing subjective ideas. I actually learned this one tonight. I've learned a lot about logic from Leonard Peikoff, who is the intellectual heir of Ayn Rand, the creator of objectivism, the only objective philosophy I've come across. And he gave this example. And even after studying philosophy and logic for years, it still tricked me, embarrassingly enough. He said it, and I thought the way you're going to think, most probably 99, probably 100% chance you're going to think in this particular way, but then I'll show you how your thinking is just wrong, that's all. It's like, he said he had a blackboard in his lecture hall, and he said, hey students, come up here and state something which is true for some men and not for others. And they wrote, some men like spinach. Oh, well, then other men don't like spinach. So he used that example. I'm going to use small boobs. I'm going to use something a little bit fun. So some men like small boobs and some do not. And so on the surface, that looks like, well, not a contradiction per se, but there is opposing subjective ideas that it's true for some people. Some men like small boobs, some men like big boobs. And when you think of it just like that, you're like, yeah, okay. Well, it's true for some, it's not true for everyone. So, but the thing is, when you think about it properly, it actually is true for everyone. All those people who like small boobs, it's true that they do like small boobs. And at the same time, it's true for them. It's also true that other men don't like small boobs, they like big boobs. And for the men who like big boobs, it's true that they like big boobs, but it's also true that they don't like small boobs, and the guys who like small boobs like big boobs, small boobs. Oh, there's so many boobs getting thrown around here. Maybe I should have just used a spinach example. One word, that would have been easier. I hope that's starting to make some sense. Let's say spinach. There are a group of men who like spinach. It's true that they like spinach. For all the people who don't like spinach, it's still true. They don't like spinach, but all those people who do like spinach. There's no contradiction here. There's no true for me, true for you. It's true. There is no my truth, your truth. There is just the truth. Even if I'm the only one in the world to like, I don't know, girls with blonde pigtails, that's not going to be the only truth. But let's say if I was, well, that's true for me. And for everyone else in the world, it's also true that that's what I like. Here's another example. It's true, people can like different things. Food, cars, houses. If some men like caravans and others don't, there is no contradiction. For all those who like caravans, it's true they like them, and also true those who don't. And for those who don't like them, it's still true that for those who do. There's no contradiction. The contradiction would be saying that one hates and loves caravans at the same time in the same sense. That's a contradiction then. They say that they love the practicality of them, but also hate the practicality of caravans. Well, that's a contradiction, you see. That's a falsehood. Well, it has to be a falsehood because do they either love it or do they hate the practicality of the caravan? You can't have both. You could say you love the practicality but hate the lack of space. That's not a contradiction. You can love and hate a caravan. You love one aspect, you hate another. You love one person, but you hate different aspects of them. So there's no contradiction there. Because it's in a different sense, in a different respect. So I hope that made some sense. Hope you're still following at this point. Well, without logic and understanding the law of non-contradiction, you cannot distinguish true from false, form consistent concepts, make inferences, or validate evidence. How are you meant to do that? Because you don't have a basis for true and false. 1 + 1 = 2, but 1 + 1 also equals 3. Yeah, okay, I'll accept that. Wait, hold on, that's a contradiction. Oh, but I'll accept that. Well, how are you meant to know anything then, if you're accepting contradictions? You learn that if someone tells you a contradiction, they're either mistaken or lying to you. Just a basic one. Where were you last night? Well, I was with Fred. You said you were with George. Oh, It's always an easy way to tell when people are lying, when their story starts to fall apart, because you expose a contradiction. Imagine a world where everyone accepted contradictions in all aspects of their life, where everything everyone believed was a lie, because to accept contradictions is to believe lies, because contradictions do not exist in the real world. They only exist in people's minds, subjectively, not in the objective world of what actually is. If that was true and everyone was believing a lie, well, the entire world could be a lie and everyone would believe it to be true. And the only way to describe such a world would be a chaotic hellscape, an upside-down, topsy-turvy, insane asylum. And we're very close to that position. People don't accept contradictions in all aspects of their life, but they do for many, many aspects of their life. On the other hand, those who reject contradictions are the logical, those who desire truth, real truth, above all else, above their fantasies, their imagination, their wishes, their personal desires for power or to be right or to be happy or anything, but a desire for the actual truth. The logical reject contradictions with absolute prejudice. We are the killers of paradox, the slayers of contradictions, and the annihilators of chaos. Hope that sounded melodramatic, quite powerful. Felt good to me when I wrote it out. Now let's get into some examples. First of all, we're going to go over examples about relationships showing contradictions, health, money, lifestyle, business, and then we'll get into the serious ones of philosophy. And you'll see how people's philosophical contradictions are what actually contribute to all these other contradictions in those lifestyle aspects. And mind you, I've got lots of examples here, but I think it's still scratching the surface. I had to cut my research and preparation for this video, otherwise the video would just be too long. So this is definitely not final or definitive. So I'm calling this part of examples the uncontroversial or the superficial, because I think most people wouldn't have a problem with accepting this as, or these as obvious contradictions when I point them out. as opposed to the philosophical ones. And the demonstration of this is to bring into your awareness contradictions that you may be accepting. So then you can become conscious of it and then reject them, stop hurting yourself and others, because that's what contradictions do. They can't help but do that. That's just what they do. They hurt you, they hurt others, they're detrimental, so you can live a better life. So let's say with relationships, you get many women and they say, I want a man who treats me well. Well, at the same time, they always choose bad guys. Contradiction. If you want guys who treat you well, why do you always choose guys who treat you badly? That's hurting you. Next, I want a partner who communicates. And whenever their partner does communicate, they stonewall and sulk instead, and they're a bad communicator. Contradiction. I want meaningful relationships. Pushes people away or retreats when they get close. I want emotional safety. Stays in relationships that repeat the same betrayals. I want someone supportive of my goals. Dates people who belittle my ambitions. So you see, I'm not going to explain every single one of them because I hope they're quite obvious. I want mutual effort. Does all the reaching out and caregiving alone. I want trust. Snoops and distrusts without cause. I want respect. Tolerates disrespect and excuses others' rude behavior. I want shared values. Dates people with opposite core beliefs and then complains. I want consistency. Accepts sporadic affection and unpredictable disappearances. I hate being ghosted. Ghosts other people. I hate being lied to. Lies to others to avoid conflict. I expect punctuality. Is always late and makes excuses. I say I want honesty. Hides feelings and withholds the truth. I value kindness. Spreads gossip about friends. I crave reassurance. Gives no reassurance to partners. I demand boundaries be respected. Routinely crosses others' limits. I want someone who shows up, disappears when support is actually needed. I say I won't tolerate jealousy, constantly checks their partner's messages. I want to be loved, isn't lovable. I want others to find my body attractive, does nothing to improve attraction. So that's for relationships, and I'm sure you could add hundreds in there, but I hope you're getting the message, seeing the contradictions there, and how that can affect people's relationships. Maybe none of that is applicable to you. Fantastic. Maybe it all is, maybe some of it, maybe only one of those elements is applicable to you. The next is health. I want to be fit and lean, but also eats junk food and doesn't exercise. I want to be healthy, treats self like a piece of shit, smoking, drinking. I want to sleep well, stays up scrolling and naps all day. I want clear skin, pops pimples and ignores skin and gut health. I want strong mental health, ruminates and avoids therapy or stress management or any kind of personal development. I want to be happy, doesn't focus on solutions, only problems. I want to quit smoking, not keep smoking. Keeps a pack for emergencies. I want to have energy, relies on energy drinks and no real nutrition. I want to look fit and sexy, doesn't exercise or eat right. I want to manage stress, drinks heavily to relax every night, and perhaps even take some medication as well. The next one is about money. I want to save money. Wastes money stupidly. I want emergency savings. Spends every paycheck on subscriptions and dining out. I want to be debt-free. Only makes minimum payments and ignores interest rates. So I hope you can start to see this pattern happening here. If you accept contradictions, you're going to have a shit dating life. You're going to be unhealthy, unfit, look like crap, and probably be quite sick or fat and weak and injured. And you're probably going to have money issues. Depends where the contradictions you're accepting. Maybe your money's great, but your health is terrible. Maybe your health is great, but your money's terrible. Wherever you're accepting contradictions is where you're going to have the problems in your life. I want to be debt-free. Only makes minimum payments and ignores interest rates. I want to stick to a budget. Buy on sale things I don't need because it's a deal. Women. I want financial independence. Stays in unstable jobs for immediate comfort instead of upskilling. I want to give I want to give generously. Spends beyond means to impress others. Well, actually, that's not a contradiction there. It's I want to give generously whilst also being financially stable. But then spends beyond means to impress others. That's the contradiction. And so, if any of these don't make sense, maybe I've actually written and read it out wrong. So, I'm not claiming these are perfect and infallible, because I may have made little mistakes going through these. So, be on the lookout. Discernment is key. I want predictable bills. Repeatedly signs up for free trials and forgets to cancel. I want to stop impulse buying. Keeps shopping apps and saved cards for one-click purchases. Just to make it easy for impulse buying. So it doesn't do anything to help themselves. I want to get ahead. Doesn't ever do anything to get ahead. Lifestyle is the next category. I want to travel and see the world, but never books trips and fears leaving home. I want to get out there and see everything. I want to enjoy an adventure. It's like, have you ever planned doing that? Have you ever gone and done it? No. It's like a hobbit. Yeah, it's like a hobbit who wants to go on an adventure but just never leaves the Shire. I want to be successful. Doesn't take any steps to achieve success, whatever that means to them. I want a minimalist home or a minimalist lifestyle like I have. But instead, they hoard items and avoid decluttering. I want to learn new hobbies. Buys gear but never practices. I want a calm life, yet they fill their schedule with noisy obligations and endless commitments. You know, they say, I want to have a stress-free life, but then has kids, gets married, has a job with a terrible boss. I want work-life balance, answers emails 24/7 and never sets boundaries. I want to read more, buys books and never opens them or scrolls instead, reading crap on Instagram or TikTok or whatever other stupid app is trending of the day. I want to eat better meals at home. Orders takeout because cooking feels like a chore. I want fewer distractions. Keeps notifications on and multiple devices nearby. Face up, pinging, flashing with the camera light, popping up on the screen. Oh, I don't want these distractions. Oh, these distractions would turn off that bloody crap. I keep my phone on silent or vibrate. I never want those bing, bing, bings. No, thank you. I want meaningful weekends, but binges shows all weekend and regrets it Monday morning. I hate using technology, yet they use technology every day for education and entertainment and has built one's life using it and would be lost without it. I hear that one a lot. It's like, technology's awesome. Look what we're doing with technology right now. Technology's fantastic. It's like saying, I hate hammers because that guy Gary, he hits people with hammers, and that's bad, so I don't like hammers. People are just like, I hate technology, AI, oh, it's all bad. It's like the hammer. Depends on how you're using it. Are you using the hammer to hit your own fingers instead of the nails? If you're hitting the nails with the hammers are great. If you're hitting your fingers, hammers are terrible. It's the same thing with technology. I mean, if other people are hitting you with hammers, well, that's less out of your control. If other people are using technology against you, again, yes, less out of control, but it's not the technology which is the problem, it's people, as always. Next is business. They say they want to start their own business, but they never start or never learn how to. They say they want to get better at sales, but they don't study sales. Watch any videos, invest in any courses, read any books. They can't make a profit in their business and want to, but yet they don't hire any help and do nothing to actually make a profit. They want to reach more people. They want more people to see what they're doing, to buy their product, to make more money, yet they don't invest in marketing, either with time or with cash. Contradiction. You can't say you want to make more money and reach more people without investing in marketing, because that is how you reach more people and make more money. Or they might just say directly they want to make more money, but they don't increase their prices and they don't sell more. Well, how are you going to make more money? It's incoherent. They want to have more than one location, but they don't learn how to franchise or how to run one successful location first. So that's all the superficial ones, examples. There were still quite a few there. The next are the better ones, where, see, those ones above aren't very controversial. They're quite superficial, but I think they all come from root issues in people's philosophy. That's how you have these contradictions, because people don't know how to think. Because thinking's hard to do it properly. Let's start off with some really simple ones. And just because I'm saying these doesn't mean this is related to you, the viewer. It's more of a common thing that I've seen people in general say, and I've chosen to put it in here. You get some people and they say there's no such thing as objective facts. No such thing. You can't be objective. Everything is subjective. There's no objective facts, right? Without realizing they just said that as an objective fact. Contradiction. Obviously there are objective facts. People who say there is no truth. You can never know truth. But they say it as a truth. Contradiction. Nothing can be known, which is a contradiction, a contradictory claim by stating knowledge. They just stated knowledge, that nothing can be known, which means something can be known. Skepticism debunked. Sorry, David Hume. I just had to check my knowledge there. David Hume, he didn't invent skepticism, but he revived it in the 1700s. 1711 to 1776, but skepticism has been around since ancient Greece, and skepticism is a stupid philosophy. Don't be a skeptic, because it's saying nothing can be known, you can't be certain of anything, which is just so contradictory. Right there, you know it's not true at all, right from that. You can't be certain of anything. They claim that as a certainty. Wrong. Big problem there. There are no absolutes, whilst claiming that as an absolute. Wrong. Reality doesn't exist. Oh, sorry. To continue, it's not just skeptics who say this kind of stuff. Even though people who are saying these points here are implicit skeptics, because there's so much skepticism in general philosophy today, or people's philosophy. Because everyone has philosophy, remember? Everyone has philosophy. It's just that most people's is this mixed, amalgamated, chaotic, implicit, unconscious mess. It's this black, bubbling mass of pure evil. That's one way to put it. that everyone has a philosophy. The goal is to make it explicit and conscious and orderly, objective, rational. That is what you want your philosophy to be. Logical and non-contradictory. Reality doesn't exist. Spoken in reality. I have no desire. It's going into Buddhism. I have no desire. You just imagine some Buddhist, right? The Buddha himself says, I have no desire, and it's great, blah, blah, blah. Or it's not great, it's just, it is what it is. I have no desire. I say, hey, Buddha, would you like to stay like that? Or if I could click my fingers and give you desire again, would you want desire, or would you want to stay in this state with no desire? Blah, 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 blah. It's contradiction. You cannot have no desire. If you do somehow magically exist in a state of no desire, do you desire to continue in that state of having no desire, or do you desire to have desire again? Silly. The only way you can have no actual desire is if you're dead, proper dead, oblivious, unconscious. Believes desire is the cause of suffering and they can be rid of it. I need to get rid of my desire and I will have no problems. Everything will be good. I need to get rid of it. It's the desire to be rid of desire is desire. Contradiction. It's not desire that's the problem. It's the Buddha did have some other good points there with craving. That's different to desire. Craving and I can't remember, but he had some other good points about overcoming suffering. Well, from my current level of understanding, maybe I'm mistaken, but I have got some value at this point, but if I more closely inspect it, maybe I'll come up with something wrong, but not the scope of this video. Someone states everything is determined necessity. And you say, well, as opposed to what? It's like saying everything is up. As opposed to what? Up only makes sense with down. Necessity only makes sense compared to unnecessity or unnecessary. Everything is determined. That only makes any logical, coherent sense when you have things that are undetermined. You cannot have just determined or determination, just like you cannot have only undetermined things. They're two ends of the same pole. Up and down, front and back. Everything is front side. What do you mean? You don't get that. Everything is inside. What do you mean you can't have everything inside? Everything is outside. As opposed to what? Outside only has relevance because there is an inside. Up and down, left and right, north and south, right and wrong, hell and heaven, good and bad. These are relational concepts. They need each other. They're defined by each other. It's just a short rebuttal on necessity, but just from that alone you can see it's not true, though you could go into more detail. Breaking that down, the more I learn, the less I know. Well, someone's just completely missing the point that the more you learn, the more you know. It's like, I learned how to tie my shoelaces when I was a child, and now I suddenly know less. But you just learned how to tie your shoelaces. Yes, but I suddenly know how not to tie my shoelaces. No, you're missing the point of what learning is. The more you know, the more you know. You could say the more I know, the more I learn there is more to know. That's not contradictory. But to say the more I know, the less I know, or bloody Socrates, he's infamous saying, all I know is that I know nothing. Stupid. Nonsense. Someone says that they can trust your senses. Oh, can't. You can't trust your senses and they are unreliable, whilst simultaneously ignoring that to have made that claim, they must have used their senses. How do you get to that point without using your senses? You can't. For a full explanation of that would take hours to explain the validity of the senses. maybe 10 hours or so, because it can be quite a difficult concept to grasp, but your senses are valid. And to say that they are not is a contradiction. Whether you understand it at your current level of knowledge or not, it is a contradiction. Because how else are you meant to state they're unreliable? Because obviously they've been reliable to you sometimes, and maybe other times you think they're unreliable, but that's a conceptual error, not a perceptual one. Oh, see, I shouldn't even touch that because there's so much it can go into that, so let's move on. Judgment is a bad thing, and you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't be judgmental. I'm not judgmental. Being judgmental is bad. They come across someone like me who judges everyone for everything, good and bad. And it's fantastic. I made a whole video about judgment. And they say, you're very judgy. You're judging. You're so judgmental of other people and it looks very bad. It makes you look bad. I love that one. It's so funny. It's like, not even going to explain that one. So obvious. Some people, they say, I'm not even sure I exist. But obviously you must exist to utter such an absurdity. Identification with ego or identification with anything is bad. I don't identify with anything. Yet they don't realize that they are identifying with those beliefs. The beliefs that identification with anything is bad. That I identify with nothing. I don't identify with anything is an identification with nothing, which is identification. Oh, no, I don't identify with the ego. The ego's bad. That's an identification with your ego, that the concept of ego is bad and you shouldn't do it. It's like, contradiction. You can't do that. So you become like Superman or something with this. It's just, you just crack false beliefs open so easily just by identifying the contradiction. That's all you need to do. And then you see, well, that's wrong. I don't even need to go into more detail. You can for the fun of it and for more clarity, but as soon as you see a contradiction, you know it's wrong. There are no things in existence, only happenings, like jumping, talking, running, but no one doing it. I remember listening to a guy who had a YouTube video, maybe 3 or 4, 5 years ago or so, and I was like, wow, this is so advanced. Wow, this is phenomenal. Oh, it makes sense. Yeah, there's only these happenings, like running and jumping. It's like, it's just clearly stupid, as they just said that to me. I heard them say that. There wasn't just speaking, there was him, this confused or deluded man who was talking. There wasn't just talking happening. There was someone talking to someone else. Try and imagine in your mind running with no one or nothing running. You can't do it. It's impossible. Try and imagine the shape of a table without any shape whatsoever. You can't do it. Shape without shape is not shape. It's nothing. It's a senseless statement. It's a category error. It's a conceptual falsehood, a misunderstanding, an incorrect utterance. It's quite funny. It's quite funny. So obviously there are people in reality. You can't have running without someone or something, an animal, whatever, running, someone jumping, someone talking. There's not just happenings. Happenings are things that entities do. You have entities' existence, like E-X-I-S-T-E-N-T-S, existence, reference, instances, people, and then causality is just the actions that those people or things are capable of. Next, I wish for non-existence and to experience oblivion. I mean, I used to be in that one when I was very depressed and hated life. I wish for non-existence. I don't want to exist and I just want to experience non-existence. And it's like, well, sorry bud, wishing for the impossible. Cannot be done. Only experience can be experienced. Non-experience cannot be experienced. Non-existence is not experienceable. Only existence is experienceable. You can't experience oblivion. There is no death-like void like that. You can have other experiences which are different from your current experience, just like dreams are different, or being on DMT, or the astral dimension or the void, they're different, but you can't experience non-existence. Contradiction. Reality is unknowable. Although at the same time, people who say that, they learn skills, make schedules, and navigate the world as if it is knowable and predictable and reliable. And they say that they know reality is unknowable. They know it's unknowable. Wrong. Contradiction. There are no facts, only subjective narratives and perspectives. Said as if an objective fact. An opinion can't be wrong. There's no such thing as a wrong opinion. But when countered that they can be wrong, opinions can be wrong, they say, you're wrong. Well, essentially they double down that opinions can't be wrong. So when you say, person A says, opinions can't be wrong. Person B says, opinions can be wrong. No, you're wrong. You're wrong. Your opinion's wrong. But opinions can't be wrong. Okay. Oh, that one's a funny one. Reality doesn't exist when I'm not staring at it. Getting into quantum physics psyops here. Although they accept stability and continuity as everyday common sense fact. Candles, car, house, everything. Everything. Reality doesn't exist when I'm not staring at it. Light a candle, go out of the room, come back an hour later, the candle's gone down. Magic. They've got a tree in the backyard. They drive away. It's a windy day. They come back home, the tree's fallen over. Oh, maybe the wind blowed that over, but I wasn't there to watch it. How did anything happen when I wasn't standing there staring at it? They park their car in the garage. They go back into the house. They walk outside. The car's still there. How is the car still there? Oh, that's crazy. You could explain that in a lot more detail, but it's just silly, really. It's just silly, and it's basically a waste of time. Not even games work like that. Even games, when you're not watching it, they work in the background. I play games all the time. You got a map, you send your army over to attack the other army, they're fighting, you pan the camera back to your base, build some more units, pan back over to the battle. Oh, half my troops have died. All of them have died while I wasn't watching. Even in the game, it doesn't work like this quantum physics nonsense. Saying we have free will, saying we have no free will, but then believing you have any kind of control over your life, your mood, your thoughts, your emotions, your work, your body, etc. So believing you have any tiny little bit of control, but then also at the same time simultaneously saying you have no free will. So that's a contradiction. It's also called the fallacy of the stolen concept, because free will is a more fundamental principle or fact of reality, or a fact of the nature of your identity as a human being or a spiritual being, whatever you like to refer to yourself as. To have control, you have to have free will. So to be talking about control as if it's a real thing, but then negating free will, is you're resting upon a stolen concept. You're stealing the idea of something more prior, antecedent, more fundamental. So it's a logical fallacy and a contradiction. Believing you have the power to change your life, but also believing you have a fated destiny written for you. So free will and also determinism. Contradiction there. It could depend on the percentage. You might say, oh, I've got a life script because that's what the astral entities did, but then I've also got free will to adhere to that life script or to deviate. Well, that's different. That's not contradictory. May or may not be true. I'm not saying anything about that right now. Saying there is no right or wrong, good or evil. There's no right or wrong. But then you get people who say that even when they say just one thing is right or wrong. They've contradicted themselves. People will say that and you say, hey, do you think child rape is good? And they say, well, do you think children should be raped, tortured and eaten? Well, is that a good thing? Well, no, that's not a good thing, but there's no right and wrong. Okay. Silly. Very, very silly, that one. There is obviously right and wrong. I mean, you could go into a whole video about that as well. Is against the initiation of physical force. For instance, they're against government, but at the same time, someone supports the initiation of force if they are the one doing it. So notice I said initiation, not retaliatory force. My position is the initiation of physical force is evil, i.e. government, and anyone who initiates force unjustifiably. Whereas retaliatory force, where you defend personally or with an army against attackers who are initiating, that is just and sound. But you get people who say, oh yes, the initiation of physical force, that's bad, like government and all that, but it's okay when I do it. I can initiate physical force. Contradiction. No, it's not right. If government can't do it, you can't do it either. Doesn't want to be imprisoned unjustly and arbitrarily, but then supports others' unjust incarceration. Wanting to make the world more orderly and peaceful, but then they vote and support chaos. That's a very common one. My previous video, or part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, was very much focusing on the fact that voting for political parties is evil. If you don't understand that, you can watch those 5 videos which explain it in a lot of depth, exactly how it is. And it's a contradiction. I want to make the world a better place, while at the same time I'm going to vote for terrorists to rape, pillage and murder me, my family, and everyone else. It may be physical, it may be financial, it might be mentally, emotional, social structure, hierarchy, any kind of way. Yeah, okay, I'll do that. No, wrong. People say that they're against theft. They wouldn't rob people, but then they vote for robbers to rob people, including them. Taxation, robbery, same. They say they want to learn, but hates it whenever anyone tries to teach them and shuts them out. Someone states there are no moral truths, but then it's wrong for someone to hurt them or children. People love the hurting children. It's so hard for people to say that hurting children is ever a good thing. Most people, even if they say this ridiculous stuff, there is no right and wrong, there's no good and evil, there are no moral truths, they'll simply, oh, well, you shouldn't hurt kids, yeah, you shouldn't. It's like, okay, at least you understand that tiny fragment of reality. That's better than nothing. I support free markets and privatization, except for military, law, roads, police. They should all be monopolized, i.e. government. You get some people who say, I'm a capitalist, free market, privatization, no monopolies, except right here on the most important aspects of society. Yeah, they should be monopolized. Yeah. Now, I believe in the principle of privatization and freedom and objectivity and rationality, but I just don't believe the principle is applicable to the most important, crucial factors of society. Military, police, law, rules. Yeah, no, not that part. Contradiction, which I've called out and exposed in many hours and hours of videos in the past with my series, how a government should work, why a government can never work, comparing the perfect government, or just analysing what the perfect government theoretically would look like, utopian realism, plenty of series, videos all about that. I am a rational person and always follow the objective facts, except for this one thing, God or globe or blah blah blah, insert whatever it is. I'm sovereign, except I still worship Yahweh and Jesus, or Muhammad, or Bahamut, or Boo-Boo, or Blue, Blaga, the universe, New Age, Blue Avians, Grey Aliens, Mum, a Dad, my genitals, this and that, and blah, blah, just saying they're sovereign while not being sovereign. Not actually understanding what it is to be sovereign. There's a lot of detail to that one as well. To understand how, for instance, you may be able to worship something, but it's not in a way which ruins your sovereignty. Not explaining now. The mainstream media is garbage, always lies and spreads a negative agenda. Yet they still watch it and propagate it. See, this one is so common all the time. People say, yeah, mainstream media, they suck. They're liars. And all they're doing is spreading an agenda that I don't want any part of. But yet they watch it and they continue to spread it. Makes sense in that one. Next. All is mind. The world is an illusion. All is an illusion. Yet they act to protect personal interests as if the world is real and consequential. All is mind. The world is an illusion. I'm not in a body or in the world. It's all in my mind. So they say that. Well, they think that in their mind, and then they say that out loud using their body in the world. If it was all in their mind, then why speak? And to whom? That's where you have to take that to. And again, earlier, as I said, you can only have inside because there's outside. You can only have outside because there's inside, up because there's down. Mind because there's world. World because there's mind. They contrast each other. You can't have all is mind. Even if you were to try and have that, you go, let's just think inside your mind right now. Imagine a cat. It's like you see a little kitten, a black kitten, feisty one, little red collar. It's like, that's in your mind. It's not out here in the world. I can't see the black cat you're imagining. I can see one in my mind. It's like, that should be enough to get the picture across, but it's probably not for a lot of people. They struggle with that one. Even if this was all a figment of you, the viewer's personal imagination, according to solipsism, the false philosophy that it's only you, you're the only one who exists, and everyone else is a part of your imagination. You're a god or something, and you forgot, or whatever. You made up everything. Everyone is just an NPC or figment of your imagination. You're the only one God being that exists forever. Always, that's just how it is. Solipsism. And let's say everything is in your mind, the world and whatnot. Still, do the cat experiment. You think in your mind, you see the cat. You don't see it out here. Still, even if you were the only one God, solipsism was true, blah, blah, blah. Still, no. Mind, world. That separation is still there, even if you take it to its absolute extreme of you being the one true God, no one else existing. You're still in a world. Toilet paper roll. Outside. Now, I can think about it inside my mind, and it's pink, and there's little blue fishies on it. Little blue fishies on the toilet paper. There's a difference, because it's not changing the toilet paper out here. It's not all mind. If it's all mind, well, why can I change it in here so easily? And on my blank mental space, boom, I can, now it's on fire. Now I throw it into a basketball hoop. That's happening in my mind for me right now, but it's not happening to it here because there's a separation, there's a difference. It's extremely obvious. Next, says there is only good. So not one of those people who says there's no good or bad, but only good. But then they get mad all the time when things go wrong and badly, and ignores the fact good can only exist in contrast to bad. If there was only good, it makes no sense. No sense. I keep falling back to the up. If there's only inside, like the directions, for me that works really well. What do you mean, up? If someone said, hey, imagine if everything actually was up. They're like, I'm up. What do you mean up? What do you mean? It makes no sense. up only makes sense when there's a down. Again, it's just... They're simple ones. They're simple and they're stupid though. Some of them are more complicated. It's like, okay, I can understand how you can be sucked into those. Some of them it's like, why are you hanging on to that? That's just silly. That's really silly. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Everything is meant to be as it is. Straight away, you just say meant to be as opposed to what? That doesn't make sense. It's the whole determined necessity thing. As opposed to what? It's like saying everything is a triangle. If everything was it just makes no sense. It makes no sense. Everything is cold. So how do you explain the difference when I feel cold and then I feel hot? It's not everything, it's not. Like, come on. And sometimes it's like the people who have a higher potential for intelligence dig themselves in deeper holes than dumber people. Like, dumb people don't believe a lot of this crap, which is really weird. They believe a couple of these things, but a lot of these, really dumb people would never say there is only good, or everything is in the mind, or everything happens, or everything was meant to be, or everything was meant to happen. Really dumb people don't do that. A lot of the times it's people who have more intellectual ability who say these things, which is, that seems like a contradiction. But obviously it's not. I just don't understand what's really happening deep enough to be able to explain it scientifically. There has to be a good reason for why that's happening. Intellectual people can get themselves stuck into deeper traps. So you have to be careful. Very careful. You must use logic as your locus, your guiding point. Again, I wasn't finished with this one. Everything is meant to be as it is, which is also fate controlling outcomes. Destiny decides my life. That's what saying everything is meant to be as it is saying. I have no free will. There is no control. No one has any free will. Fate controls everything. There's nothing left to chance. There's nothing that's undetermined. Everything is determined. Everything is by necessity. There is destiny deciding and controlling my life. I don't make any decisions by myself. That, in effect, is actually what that means. Everything is meant to be as it is. But then they trip over and they say, oh, that was an accident. I didn't mean to trip over. Or they say, oh, I'm sorry. I meant to say I'm hungry, not horny. And they say, oh, I'm really horny. Oh, sorry. I meant I'm hungry. They just contradict themselves. They didn't mean to say horny. They meant to say I'm hungry. Which is basically showing a mistake they didn't mean. Or they apologize when they say something rude or blunt and they didn't mean it. Say, you're a rude prick. Oh, you know what, mate, sorry, yeah, I didn't mean that. Yeah, that was a bit harsh, yeah. Everything is meant to be as it is. Contradiction, no. Some things are meant to be, some things are not meant to be. You could go into a whole video explaining, well, what are the things that are meant to be, what shouldn't be, what could be, blah, blah, blah. Skip. Everything happens for a reason, but then they rationalize harmful choices instead of fixing them. Doesn't improve oneself to correct errors, stays the same. Everything happens for a reason. Yeah. It's all happening for a reason. All this bad stuff that's happening to me, it's all for a reason, and I'm not going to do anything to figure out those reasons or to improve my situation. No, it's going to stay the same. Oh, maybe that one's actually less of a contradiction, just stupid. Next. My actions were inevitable. And then they refused to accept criticism for avoidable mistakes. And they also refused to take credit where it is due. And they used this as a scapegoat to avoid future responsibility. Next. So I've got quite a few more, and I want to try and wrap this video up. So I'm just going to breeze through more of these because it's like each of these points, you could spend at least a 10-minute video. Knowing me, it'd be more than 10 minutes on each of these topics. I've got another one here about everything is meant to be. Well, you've got two ways of saying that. Everything is meant to be. It was meant to happen. Oh, that was meant to happen like this. Oh, yeah, you're meant to break your leg. You're meant to get rejected by that girl. You were meant to lose all your money. You were meant to get arrested. You were meant to be raped or murdered or tortured or burnt or flogged or whipped or robbed or extorted or betrayed. Oh, it was meant to happen. Everything is meant to be. But then they point at everyday mistakes and accidents. Well, then they contradict themselves. They say, oh, that, as I gave the examples before, but then sometimes people say, well, it had to happen like this. The accident, there's nothing they could have done differently. And typically what that is, it's denying responsibility and maturity, and it's just wanting not to live. It's just wanting to be a child, essentially. I was unlucky. There was nothing I could do. It happened by determined chance. But then they blame luck for consequences they could prevent or change. For instance, about looks and business, job, travel, health, relationships. Also, I realized why I wanted to finish this video soonish is because it's 1:24 a.m. It's getting late my side. Oh, I was planning to do this a bit earlier, but I kept on having more and more to add to it. But okay, we're getting close there. I mean, if you're really enjoying this video, you don't want me to finish. You're like, yeah, keep coming out with these examples. These are great. These are so good. Yep. I mean, if you're not offended by any of these yet, well, I'm not doing my job properly. The goal is for you to be offended. Well, that's not the goal. But I was trying to cover so many bases that pretty much anyone would be identifying with one of these contradictions or accepting them, and then to have me bring it to their awareness and go, oh, it's calling me out. Oh, that one, yeah, I believe in that one. Oh, offended. That's not true. The contradictions. It's as simple as that. Not opinion, facts. I love facts. Because it's got nothing to do with me. I don't make the facts. I just see them. Yeah, so you can have ones about contradictions about luck. You could say you can't blame people for not knowing the truth, but then they blame people for when they do something wrong. Yeah, for instance, someone might say, you can't say when people vote, you can't call them evil because they don't know what they're doing. You can't blame them for doing that. But then they'd blame people, hey, that guy stole a car. Oh, but he stole the car so then he could feed his family. He didn't know what he was doing. He was trying to do a good thing. He was trying to do a good deed, just like the voters were trying to do a good deed. Yeah, but he stole my car. Yeah, but they're voting for tyranny. It's worse. You just got your car stolen. Who cares? It's nothing compared to tyranny. So, contradiction. You can blame people for not knowing the truth, especially if the truth is easily knowable. I know politicians lie, but I trust this one. I just want to go back to this luck one and finish that off properly. I'm just reading what I wrote. I was unlucky. There was nothing I could do. It happened by determined chance. So someone who's got a bad relationship with luck, there's nothing I could do here, when in reality there was things that they could do. And then at other times they blame luck for consequences they could prevent or change. Like say with their looks, their business, their job. Say I was just born unlucky, I was fat and there's nothing I can do. Oh, my facial structure's no good, I can't get a nice haircut. Oh, my haircut, this is an average haircut. I got it today, $6, which is good. Good price. I wouldn't call the haircut great, but I wouldn't call it terrible either. She was doing some funky stuff here anyway. Whilst simultaneously saying someone else who has those things is lucky. They have looks. Oh, they're lucky. It's like, no, they're not lucky. They worked for that body. Oh, but I'm unlucky. I can't achieve that body. No. Contradicting, you're saying there's this metaphysical principle of luck that applies to you in different ways that it applies to them. You say you're unlucky, but they're lucky. It's not anything to do with luck. It's that you're not putting in the effort for relationships, for business, for health, for looks, whatever it is. They're putting in the effort and they're getting those results. You're saying you're unlucky, but they're lucky. You're blaming something that's not to blame. You should be blaming your effort, and you should be praising their effort. But instead, you're saying it's a cosmic metaphysical principle of luck, chance, that they have everything they want. They have money, they have health, wealth in other areas, blah, 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 blah. They have all the good stuff. I don't. It's not my fault. There's nothing I can do. It's luck, outside of my control, chance. Again, I think that's not so contradictory. I'm not stating a proper contradiction right there, my mistake. I'm just stating something which is stupid and just false. It's a bad interpretation of a concept. It's like a replacing concept or a parallel concept or a conflated concept, something like that. Anyway, let's move on. I know the government lies, but I trust this one thing that they told me. I can see that they faked the moon landing, but I still believe in NASA and the globe model. Reason is invalid, but they use arguments, logical evidence to selectively win debates. Free will is an illusion, yet they expect praise for accomplishments and appreciates when others choose to help them. Oh, thank you for helping me. I chose to help you. Oh, thank you for doing that. Wait, hold on. Free will is an illusion. Why are you giving gratitude if everything was determined? You may as well say no, thank you. Why do you want to be praised for an accomplishment? You didn't have to work to do it. It just happened. It was determined. You built something nice, a body or a house or a car or something. Why should you expect praise for that? Why should you expect to be praised because you look beautiful? You built a muscular body. Why should you get praised for that if you don't believe in free will? You had nothing to do with it. You had nothing to do with it. It was determined. It was outside of your control. So, silly. Says they love life, but then they show little love for themselves, psychologically, intellectually, and physically. Contradiction. Someone who loves life will take care of themselves in all those aspects. On the flip side, someone might say that they hate life, but then they put massive effort into everything they do. They basically show that they love life, but while saying they hate life. I mean, it depends on the context. Says they care about others, but then they don't do caring things. It's like in a relationship, someone says, I love you, but then beats their wife, their girlfriend. Oh, that's a good one. I haven't even got that written down. I'm going to write that down. Hold on. Okay, I popped that into relationships. That's a good one. Next. They say they value freedom and personal choice, but then they support tax and government and religion and some other institution which takes away unjustifiably their own and others' personal choice and freedom. They say they want to know the truth, but then fights against it and rejects it at every inconvenient, unpleasant, and uncomfortable turn. They say that the answer that no one created reality is stupid. So they're arguing, someone arguing against the primacy of existence point of view, where existence is primary over consciousness. They say, no, that's stupid. Like the eternal source of everything can't be an environment or reality itself. No. An eternal source of everything? No, you can't have that. The answer is that it's God. It's like, well, then who created God? No one. So there's this contradiction. Because if you say, well, I believe in the primacy of existence. Well, who created existence? No one. Oh, that's stupid. Well, who do you think created everyone? Or what do you think? And they say, God. I say, well, who created God? No, God doesn't need to be created. Well, you just attacked me for saying my position was reality didn't need to be created. It was eternal. You attacked my idea of eternity, but then you're endorsing your view of eternity. You're adding one extra complex layer on top that's unnecessary and doesn't increase any understanding of an explanation. It just complicates it. Adds nothing new that's useful. Anyway, coming back, got a whole series about how God is fake and debunking Christianity, different series about that. Someone says, I hate taxes and don't support government, but then they demand a Centrelink raise. They want more money from the government, more welfare, but I hate government and I want government to close down. Anyway, The government should burn in hell, but then they complain about their pension not being high enough. So they're surviving through the government robbing people, but then they say the government should burn in hell or should go away. Someone saying, I should be able to travel freely wherever I want, but then they support gangs who close our borders, saying, oh, no. I can have freedom to travel, but other people cannot. Nope. I've got a series of not my videos, but other objectivists talking about that, the case for open borders, explaining why there should be no borders. You can check out that playlist as well on my channel. Mainstream doctors don't know anything and only sell pharmaceutical poisons. But then that same person consistently goes to doctors for unnecessary prescription meds. I know they faked the moon landing, I still trust NASA. That's a double up. I'll change my mind when confronted with better ideas. Doesn't change mind. Has compassion and doesn't want to hurt people. But then they support Yahweh burning people in hell for eternity. That's a very common one. Oh, I'm compassionate, I'm loving like Jesus and all this. It's like, hey, what about those people who don't accept Jesus as their Lord and Savior? Well, God is going to enact his perfect justice and burn them in hell for all of eternity, and this is great and I'm happy about that. Please. Reality is eternal, but then it also had a beginning. I have proof reality doesn't exist. Well, proof presupposes reality and points to facts of reality. All right, that's all the examples I've got. Oh, that could keep on going for a long time, but that's all I've got. To reiterate, you want to reject contradictions whenever you come across that. That is good for you. Whenever you are accepting contradictions, you are harming yourself and harming other people. Inevitably, it is unavoidable. You're going to cause issues in your life and in the world at large. That's why the world is so fucked up and is virtually, it is a hellish landscape. A hellscape. Oh, combine those words. Terrible place. That could be even worse if people continue to accept rejections, to accept contradictions. I'll be making more videos like this in the future. I hope you learnt a lot from this. But remember, this is the beginning of the beginning when it comes to logic and philosophy. The beginning of the beginning. I'm sure this has explained a lot for you, but there's still so much more to be explained and to be understood. And you'll go from a here, because so many people, they think they're here, but they're really, you probably can't even see my hand here. With the right knowledge, you can actually go right up. Anyway, I'm done. All right, bye-bye. See you in the next one.